All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. We are here with a packed house of beautiful, intelligent women. I'm super excited. Welcome to the special edition of Sisters for Harmony. And we are a bunch of sisters in harmony with each other. And we are here tonight to talk about a condition that a lot of times people may have heard the word, but they have no idea what it is. As we were talking backstage, many times this is something that people suffer in silence. And we wanted to make sure that we bring a spotlight to it. Each of us in our own ways are people who bring voice to the voiceless and do advocacy all the time in health, wellness, be it individual, community, family, society, so forth. And this is what tonight is about as we talk about this topic known as lupus. So I am going to do a round robin here and have each person really introduce themselves because they bring so much to this table and we are going to have a rich discussion. Please be sure to use the chat room. If you have questions, we will try to get to as many as we can. I'm just going to follow you as I see you on my screen. So, Dr. Nia Bailey, would you please bring yourself off mic and tell the people a little bit about who you are?
Oh, Father, thank you so much for having us. I'm so excited. My name is Nia Bailey. I'm from West Philly. I'm a radiation therapist, and I've had the pleasure of working with these beautiful Black women. And I'm so excited to get on here so we can talk about the event that we have coming up.
Mm-hmm. And Dionne Chambers.
Good evening, everyone. I too second that motion that this is a group of gorgeous looking women, if I had to say so myself, with no filters. Okay.
None.
I am the CEO of Learn the Power Girl Consulting Group, and our office space will be the host site for this amazing event. So I am just blessed to be in these women's presence.
Yes. All right, Carol Riddick.
Well, good evening, everyone. Hi there, family. As you all heard, my name is Carol Riddick, born and raised, bred, however you want to say it, in Philly.
Come on.
I am a songstress, a songwriter, a multimedia personality. Don't you dare, Dr. Bailey. And it is a pleasure. It is a pleasure and a privilege to be here with all of you to talk about something that is so close to my heart.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And Dr. Natasha Ramental.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm Natasha Ramental. I'm a nurse and also an independent patient advocate at Medical Tourism RN, where I also educate Black women specifically on any aspect of medical tourism if they choose to seek health care abroad.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, you can see we have a rich panel here, and I'm super excited to jump in. Now, Dr. Bailey and I met a couple years ago. I just had this internal push. Hey, Leslie, I had this internal push that we had to go to Kwanzaa. My husband and I had to go to Kwanzaa down in downtown. What was that? Franklin's Center, something like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we didn't know why. And then we met Dr. Bailey and we both looked at each other and we just shook our heads and we said, that's why we had to come. It was very clear. And she's been in my life ever since. And I'm so thankful. And so when she tapped me and said, this is what I'm looking to do next, it was like, let's go. Let's talk about it. So Dr. Bailey, let's talk about the origins of this. How did we even get to talk about this topic called lupus?
I have to give it up to the songstress, Carol Riddick. I think you said to me, Miss Carol, I think I posted something about lupus and you were like, what's going on there? Is that what happened?
That's exactly what happened. I saw a post and I said, wait, so what do you know about lupus? What, like it struck, my heart, a heart chord, because again, as I shared, it's so close to me, and that sparked the conversation.
Mm-hmm. So then we shared, we got a lupus warrior here. Mm-hmm. Hey, girl. Mm-hmm. I shared that I had lupus, in which me and Miss Carol have been in each other's lives for a little bit, but we didn't know that about each other. Mm-hmm. And then she shared her story, right?
Absolutely. My mother had lupus. She navigated, I will say, lupus for years. And I was right there with her. Right there with her. So it was a long journey, a very long, for at least 30 years. My mother navigated life with lupus. So I got to see a lot of changes.
Yeah.
Physically, emotionally, across the board.
For sure. And Dionne got roped into this how?
She did, because from there, Miss Carol was like, we should do an event to, educate the community. And we felt like lupus is sort of like how cancer was. Back in the day, it was the big C and nobody talked about cancer. Now they are, which is great. But we want lupus to be the same thing. A lot of people don't talk about lupus. What is that, So Miss Dionne, the bomb girl, the boss lady, we know that she is a huge educator. We know that she does everything with the community. We know everything about her. So I said, Miss Dionne, can you help me? And the baton went to her.
Yes. And Dionne, what made you grab that baton?
It's just like my sister said, Dr. Nia, she knows that we all do this work together in the community when it comes about some radical wellness and being the fact that this is a quiet disease that affects the community, period. Not only that, everyone knows I'm a big advocate for early childhood education when it comes to teachers and their health, something that just doesn't get looked at for so many disparities, economic, just access to that medical care that they need. This is something that kind of was just like 360. So, Nia know when she say something, we're just going to fall in line.
Ain't that the truth?
It was just one of those days. I said, let's go, let's get a date, what we need, who, where, why, and let's get it done.
That's facts. So let's break this down. So as we see, we have a lupus warrior in the audience here, and she was actually my introduction to lupus. And so she started asking me about walks and donations and things like that. And it was like, I've known her for, goodness knows, over 30 years at this point. So it was like, whatever you need, just tell me what you want, what you need. So I was excited when you asked, when you were telling me about this program and we were able to do a show. Honestly, I dedicate this show to her, and I dedicate this show to everyone else who is dealing with this, those directly, and as Carol mentioned, as well as those in proximity to someone, because it impacts us. It impacts us all. And so with that being said, Dr. Bailey, Carol, would you just describe what is lupus? And then Dr. Ramental, we're going to tap in on your knowledge also. What is it?
So I will start with, that was a long journey for me, because my mother, we'd gone back and forth to the doctor trying to find out what was going on. At first, they said it was bronchitis. Then there were several things they thought that she had. And it took me going to the library. Remember when we used to go to the library? I went to the library and I started researching all of her symptoms, researching everything she shared with me and everything I was seeing in her, and found systemic lupus erythematosus. The hardship is that it's not easily detectable, even still, because it presents in so many ways. But it is it is an affliction, if you will. It affects the nervous system. It affects your whole body, quite honestly, depending on what strain you have. But in totality, it does. No matter which strain you have, it affects your entire body. And sometimes my mother would say, I don't know whether I'm coming or going. So I know it affects you mentally and emotionally as well, because you're trying to navigate what you're feeling. You're trying to describe. You're trying to just push through.
Yep.
So in a nutshell, without using a medical term, that's how I describe lupus. It is an affliction that attacks your entire body.
Yeah. I think you described it perfectly. That's exactly what it is. A lot of the times that I feel those things that your mother was feeling, it correlates to the things that my patients feel that have cancer. They talk about brain fog. They talk about the pain systemically, all those things. And I'm like, I don't have cancer, but I do have lupus. So you describe the definition so perfectly. And to second with what your mom went through, I just turned 33, but I probably had it since I was 17, 16 years old, but they just couldn't pinpoint it. But my gripe with that is if somebody would have just taken my ANA and started from there, then, you know, I'm not saying it would have been so easily detected, but I don't think I would have been diagnosed at 30, if not 15. So, you know, like you said, the symptoms present so much differently, but it just seems like it's we're playing cat and mouse with this when we really shouldn't. You know, just take the test, just draw my blood and figure it out.
Yeah.
But, to summarize, I think you described it perfectly.
Yeah. Dr. Ramantal, anything you'd like to add?
No, everything that they say, I echo it. One of the things I was going to say is, you know, statistics show that lupus disproportionately affects Black women. And I know there are a number of cultural and systemic barriers that make diagnosis and treatment particularly challenging for Black women in the US, especially with systemic racism. But it's a double-edged sword because lupus can present with a wide range of symptoms. So it's really hard to detect. And I have a childhood friend, I'm talking about over 40 years, who literally just found out within the last 3 to 5 years that she has lupus. And she's had symptoms forever. And she told me, she said, I felt like I was crazy, because they've done every test she felt known to man, and they couldn't explain why she was having all of these different symptoms, because they mirror so many other symptoms of so many different things, but they have to rule those out first. And no one until recently said, let me try lupus. Let me just test you for that.
Yeah. You know, that's what I was just thinking about, the longevity of knowing something's wrong and working very hard to describe it to someone. Sometimes that's the hardest part right there, trying to explain it. I deal with that as I take care of my mom. And there's times where it's like, are you in pain? And she'll say, no, I have discomfort. Okay, well, what does that discomfort feel like? And the frustration that she experiences trying to describe it to me, and the frustration I experience trying to understand it and connect so that I can then convey to a doctor what is needed, and not knowing what tests to ask for. So I'm just thinking here, a 17-year-old, Dr. Bailey, experiencing these different feelings, and you're trying to explain it, and someone is trying to explain it away, and it's like, no, that ain't it, Carol. I see you doing a church, shake your head, convict. What was that?
I am in agreement with everything you are saying. I was right there with my mother in the doctor's offices, you know, with them telling her, well, maybe, well, we think, you know, and they weren't giving her any definite answers, but they were trying to treat her. They were trying to treat the maybes.
Yes.
No, we don't do that. We don't do that. We don't treat maybe. And I began to get so frustrated. I shared her frustration.
Yeah.
She was frustrated because she was dealing with something she had, you know, no clue about and could not. Yeah, you know, and it was heartbreaking in the very beginning. I mean, the entire time as well, but in the very beginning, it was heartbreaking because my mom went through so much. She you know, with the swelling,
yes,
she retained so much fluid, and again, they were treating symptoms and treating maybes, and that was making things worse. Just making things worse.
Yeah. Yeah. Dr. Bailey, so for you, would you describe, I know we talked about the inflammation, we talked about the retention of water, we talked about, do you recall some of those early signs where you were like, this isn't the end of puberty here. This is something different? Because 17, people are going to say that's what it is.
My joints swelled up. So it started when I was my mom. We just moved into a new house. My mom was making me wash every dish. Father help us. We had a dishwasher, and she didn't want me to use it. I gotta wash the dishes. So that's what great grandmom did in Inner South Carolina. So Nia had to do it. So I was washing the dishes, and my joints, my wrists were swollen. And I said, "My mom, I can't move." She said, "Oh, you trying to complain? You could keep washing." And I showed her. She said, "Oh, Father, help us to the cross." So we went to the doctor, and they were like, "You're just swollen." Went to CHOP. I think I went to CHOP. Maybe I was 16. And they just said angioedema, just saying swelling. And I had that throughout, off and on. Fatigue, but you can be tired with anything. You know, being irritable, but that's me sometimes. So But brain fog, so I had some different signs and symptoms, but the fatigue and the joint swelling really kicked it off. And I think it was 2021 when I got diagnosed, and they were saying, well, maybe there's something wrong with the GI. I had a endoscopy, I had a colonoscopy, I had all this. And I remember saying to my GI doctor, crying, I said, there's something wrong with me, but I don't know what it is. I said, it feels like my sugar's low. I said, maybe I need to drink orange juice. I thought I had diabetes. I didn't know what it was. And he finally said, well, let me run a panel of tests. And he did that. And he said, you know what, your ANA is positive. And I remember being happy, not that it was positive, but that it proved that something was wrong with me, that I wasn't crazy.
Yes.
And he said, make an appointment with a rheumatologist. I did that. And they did another panel of tests, looking at so many other things. And that's why I said earlier, like, if they just had have done that a long time ago, then maybe I wouldn't be in this predicament now where certain things don't work, so you have a cat and mouse game again. But the joint swelling was the primary thing for me.
That was the piece. Now I see Gwendolyn put in here about
the rash.
Yeah, about the rash.
I was going to ask Dr. Bailey if you experienced the butterfly rash, because in nursing school, that's what they teach us as far as identifying it. That's my mom, by the way. She's a nurse, retired nurse of over 60 years. Hi, Mom. But she was saying usually they don't until it gets there. But that is sometimes so far after you've experienced many of the symptoms that you've gone through. So did you ever develop it? I was curious.
I never did. But what I did notice was at the time I was trying to get my hair to grow. And so I was, whenever I would wash my hair, there would be chunks of hair coming out. And I just thought it was stress, but it turned out to be connected to my lupus. But Miss Carol, did your mom have the butterfly rashes?
She did not. She never did.
And I always wonder, because I haven't taken care of enough lupus patients to say that it may be something that shows up predominantly in white women. And that makes a difference, again, because just the system here, the healthcare system or sick care system here, essentially what they do is they pass off a lot of the pain that Blacks are feeling. And that's lupus, that's sickle cell, that's a number of things. So a lot of times, because again, unfortunately, because the symptoms are so non-specific and they mirror so many other things, you fall into that whole circle of, oh my gosh, let's treat some symptoms. It could be this, could be that. So we're just going to do these things. And you fall into that whole rigmarole. And it's terrible. But this is why you bring about awareness and you advocate, because hopefully people can learn from this and offer those exams long before you go through that whole process of all these other endoscopies and all colonoscopies and everything else.
Yeah. I was just taking a look here. Leslie, one of our lupus warriors, said that she was in the ER getting blood work done for other major symptoms that were showing, and they stumbled upon a positive result.
Wow.
Yeah.
Leslie shares she doesn't have the rash all the time as well. That's interesting. I wasn't aware that it would come and go. So that's interesting.
Yeah. Dionne,
Be the Change actually said something before. Can you explain autoimmune diseases? I think that is important. I know we explained lupus, but autoimmune diseases on a whole. Just essentially, it's when your body's immune system mistakenly attacks its own healthy tissues and organs. So it's almost like your body's fighting against itself, right? Your immune system normally protects the body from infections and foreign invaders, but in autoimmune diseases, the immune system produces antibodies and immune cells that actually target and damage the body's own cells. That's what it is.
Oh, I'm sorry. And I know for myself, I can actually feel it.
Wow.
I feel like a jolting in my body sometimes. Like it feels like, and I don't know if that's what it is, but it feels like my body is fighting. But I'm sorry, Miss Carol, what were you saying?
No. Thank you for that. I was going to share that it's interesting to me that we're having this conversation and I'm sharing what I'm sharing about my mother, and some people are saying the same things. And my mother had lupus for well over 30 years.
Wow. Again, detection, no one is looking for it, and you suffer, unfortunately, for so long with it. But this is why you guys are speaking up, and we're happy that you are,
Yeah. And again, right, there's so many people that suffer from it. There's so many well-known as in celebrities. There's so many people in our lives that suffer from it that don't share and obviously, as we're hearing, there's a lot of people that don't know because, Carol, as I'm hearing you saying your mother suffered for 30 years, right? And Nia is talking about for the past, 15, 16 years you had it, and people are still having difficulty diagnosing it. And now I'm thinking of past clients who have said to me, like, there's something wrong, but I don't know what it is. And we're trying all types of doctors because as a clinician, one of the things we always want to do is roll out anything medical. But when we're constantly sending people to the doctor and they're coming back with a no, but internally they're saying, I know something's wrong with me. Like, I'm not being a hypochondriac. I just know. And so, Dionne, I'm thinking about you being such a strong advocate for the early childhood educators and them dealing with what they're dealing with and then having to go into chaotic, intense environments and that impact. Anything you'd like to add there?
Yes, I want to echo what I hear a lot of the teachers and the community members that I work with. I mean, it's just until honestly the pandemic that teacher wellness became a thing, and now we have all the medical facilities and universities doing research when it comes to teacher wellness and looking like what it does when you have teachers with undiagnosed, issues, medical issues, and lupus is one of them. I know when I do trainings, Dr. Walls, we do the 8 dimensions of wellness now with the teachers, right? And just at the retreat I was with, out of like 40 women, like 4 of them came forward and said they had lupus, and they kind of mimic what Nia was saying about it just kind of got ignored. And it was like they did everything they needed, and the test was the last thing before they got diagnosed, And then honestly, a lot of them also said they didn't have that butterfly thing. So kind of that got ruled out that was something obvious, And then you think about the stressors that teachers in early childhood education have. First of all, it's long days. And we know trying to get doctor's appointments when you're doing that 9 to 9, and we know many of the centers are open, around the clock, is difficult. And it takes a long time. And I'm sure Dr. Natasha can agree with me to get a doctor's appointment when you just can't pinpoint what's the matter with you.
Yes.
It's like 6 months and you're feeling like how, these ladies describe. You really will feel like you're going out your mind. And then you're trying to care for our most precious gifts, the young children, right? Yeah. You're trying to care for their social emotional needs when you're struggling with your own. So I'm just so happy that this is being to the front. I feel like we may have a lot of people experience these things and don't know what and how to advocate for it. So after this event, they're going to know what to say. If any are listening to this podcast, I hope maybe they're having an aha moment when it's like, okay, they X'd out this. No, it's not menopause. No, it's not this. Because right, the symptoms sound familiar. But until you pinpoint what is needed so you can function and just be your best person and not only be that educator you need for our young children, right? It's all important.
Yeah. Carol, you look like you're getting ready to say something.
Oh my goodness. I was going to say that I want to make sure that I'm so clear. I'm so passionate about this. And I know that when I speak about it, I may sound as if I'm upset or angry about some things when I was just talking about my mom and the process before her diagnosis. It's not that. It's just my passion. It's just my passion. I want to make sure that I am clear with everyone that I just want to spread the word, because I don't want to see anyone suffer the way I saw my mother suffer prior to diagnosis, and even, while navigating the infliction itself. So I just wanted to be clear.
Real talk.
Thinking that the whole time you were saying,
you good, Carol. I'll be angry for you. I'm angry that it takes this long for women, period, and women of color to get the medical help that they need. So I'll step up and be that angry Black woman. Okay. How about Bullhorn when my sisters are struggling and going through this, that something has to be done and we're doing it. So I feel like you have permission to be angry. You are in it and you understand it. We have to allow ourselves, so it's my turn because, Nia and Dr. were always on me. about, you have to give yourself permission. So you did this journey, you did the walk.
Yes.
So we appreciate your experience and words that you have, because I'm passionate too, and I'm here to say I'm angry. That it takes 6 to 9 months for teachers to get appointments that they need, and then medical assurance to not even want to take the test. I don't even want to go there because they want to try other things, before they take this test to find out what's really the issue with these women.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Dionne. Thank you. I've been angry for so long about this. So angry because and I want to say that I'm just so happy that we're having this conversation and that we have contributors, we have advocates, that we are actually fighting this fight right now. So
yes,
add that too.
You have a circle of angry support, just so you know. Dr. Rivers says she angry too. So we will hold your hand and be angry together.
Thank you.
And angry doesn't always mean destruction, right? It is a force. It is an energy that is a force that lets you know that something is out of alignment. Something is out of harmony. And so it is flared up to get our attention, and it has the opportunity to move us into compassion, right? Move us beyond empathy and move us into action. So we got a lot of anger. We have a lot of reasons to be angry. One of our friends to the show, and Carol, I'm sure you know this vocalist very well, V. Shane Frederick, says it's interesting how some of these illnesses focus on Black folk and thus get ignored. And right. And then I think it was Be the Change said that, we have to remember, as someone who took care of someone with lupus, we have to remember that many do not show the external symptoms of sickness. Sometimes people don't take those with lupus as with a serious disease. And if you're looking for certain external things because that's the population that's been studied, and that's been the trigger for being able to clarify the diagnosis, but it shows up differently in different people. And so why research is so important. There's been many times, Dr. Bailey, as you know, with the different breast cancer research initiatives. I'm blanking on the names of them right now. One of them is the Voice or the Wisdom Study or something, right? There's those different ones, and why it's so important to participate in these studies, because we have to increase our sample size of people who look like us, so that therefore there's an understanding of how it shows up and how it's differentiated in different populations. So yes. Let me see what else we have here. Be the Change.
I just want to share something about the signs, the early signs. Again, because lupus affects multiple organs, the early signs can vary widely from person to person. But again, because they seem, a lot of times they can seem unrelated, or they mimic other conditions like the unexplained fatigue, the hair loss that you talked about, Dr. Bailey. But you can also get mouth or nose ulcers. You can get some swelling around the legs or in the eyes, much like Carol said, her mom with the swelling in the legs. You can get, of course, the joint pain and stiffness, and then skin changes, which they do look for the butterfly shaped rash that we talked about. It's usually on your cheeks and your nose, which is why they say it's a butterfly. But any rash that will worsen with the sun exposure, that kind of thing. And then fever without infection. And that's usually very unique. So that's something that should make someone say, that's kind of odd. Let me look into that a bit deeper. This is not just something that's surface that's going around.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. And one of the things I was just thinking about, Carol, is talking about your mother and the amount of time that she suffered from it. For us to check with our elders and let's ask them, have they been experiencing these symptoms? Because I'm sure there's so many that are still currently not diagnosed because they've learned to live with it.
Yes.
And now there's an answer, but if we're not letting them know that there's a potential answer, they're going to continue to live with it, wondering if they're just making stuff up, and they need to just get over it. They need to just push through, right? All of those, and especially when it comes to Black women and Superwoman syndrome, all of that stuff passed on. But we know that this goes beyond race and gender, that this is something that we need to make sure that people know there may be a solution to something that you are experiencing. So as Dionne's even saying, just as we're taking this time to talk about this, now you can go to the doctor's office and go, hey, can you test me for lupus? I heard this conversation. Make sure you subscribe to this channel and forward this to other people and hit the replay that I watched. And now I'm wondering if I have this. Carol, go ahead. You look like you're going to say something.
You are so comical. But no, I was going to say you are absolutely right. And it wasn't until my mother was diagnosed that one of my cousins went to be tested as well and found out that she had lupus. So you're absolutely right about asking those that you know and making the suggestion. Why don't you just check it out? And I also want to address, you did say V Shane. Yes. I am a fan. So hey, yes. V Shane.
For those who don't know, V Shane Frederick is a fabulous jazz pianist and vocalist here in the Philadelphia area, but he travels all over the place. And he just released his latest album, Treasures, a couple weeks back. So yes. All right. Shane put, we're so used to symptoms of inflammation.
Oh my goodness, that's so true.
Come on.
So true. So true.
Word. I know. See, look at that. So sharing all of this love, sharing all the love. So this call to action now moved you to from just having a conversation to saying, we're going to create a whole event here. Dr. Bailey, when is this event happening? Carol, what can people expect? So Dr. Bailey, you start first. When, and Dionne will tell us where, and then the what behind it.
All right. September 27th, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. I pointed to my girl.
Come on, Dionne, where?
At 2601 North 11th Street, the Office of Learning Power Grow Consulting Group, which also happens to be Hope Partnership for Education, which is a private middle school for our Black and Brown children.
Nice. And Carol, what is happening that day?
When I tell you we are going to love on one another all day long, do you hear me? In the form of conversation, in the form of education, in the form of inspiration. We've got panels. Yes.
I see that songstress. Come on. I hear you. I'm feeling all of it.
Come on now. We're going to support one another. That is what the day will entail. All of what I just said, that is what that day will entail. We'll have panels. We will have information for everyone. We're encouraging everyone to come out, talk to us, have a conversation with us, even if you just want to ask one question. One question is not, listen, no question is a dumb question. They say the dumbest question is the one you never ask. So come on out, talk to us, and let's make this conversation the biggest. So that we can all become educated and we can help one another.
Do you see why she's the keynote speaker? Period.
I got ready to say, come on and give us the rundown for people. I put the Instagram Lupus event page in the chat room, so you can go on and click on that. Carol about to have me sing my old Dr. Walls and Friends song. We are inspiring, encouraging, and motivating you to live your purpose and passion too. So anyway, y'all go ahead.
We were trying to get Miss Carol to, I think, her new single, Gas Hard, but that we'll see.
Come on.
Listen.
She's going to be the keynote speaker. Like she said, we'll be on a panel. We have other phenomenal panelists. Ebony Michelle is coming from Chicago. She's talking about sexual wellness, which is really important. We have Dr. Khadijah Douglas, who is a phenomenal doctor. We have Tania Wilson, who donated her kidney to her mom, who needed a kidney because of lupus. We have mocktails. We have lupus-specific food. We have massages. We have lymphatic drainage, which is huge for people who are dealing with lupus. Oxygen bar. We have interactive art section, because some people don't learn by panel or speaking, they learn by art form. We have a donor drive. We talked about women going through lupus. We have this phenomenal Black man, Emmett Henderson III. He is in need of a kidney because lupus has impacted his other kidney, has impacted his heart. has impacted his brain, and now he needs another kidney. So we're having a donor drive. So hopefully we can find a kidney for our Black brother. We also have another panelist, Dionne, who is coming from Virginia, right, Miss Carol?
Yes, he sure is, Dionne Langley. He's also an artist, but his mission and his focus is to spread the word and educate everyone else about lupus, because he himself has lupus. We've got, listen, when I talk about love, you heard me say love, right? Because that's what it's about. For all of us, for the babies, for everybody. I'm encouraging. Nia is encouraging. Dr. Bailey, I should say. I call her Nia when we're talking. But Dr. Bailey, Dionne, Ms. Chambers, we're encouraging you all. Dr. Romantal, we're all collectively encouraging you to come join us on September 27th. It's going to be a time.
Yeah. And so I understand it costs, what is it, like $1,500 to get in?
Oh, don't you dare.
$1,000?
Don't you dare. Listen.
Gotta be at least 500.
Listen,
to get into this thing?
I was blowing up trying to say, make sure you say it's a free event for the public. It's a free event for the community. It's a free event. Yes, a free event.
Free 99.
Yes, it is.
Free is free.
I see Be the Changes question.
Yes.
Will we speak about how past traumas contribute to sicknesses like lupus? We absolutely will. We absolutely will. I'm telling you, we're encouraging every conversation that comes into the room, because every conversation is a necessary one to have.
Yes. Unlocking. Let me tell you, Be the Change has a wonderful book as well. I usually have it sitting right next to me, and tonight I don't have it next to me. Do me a favor, Gil, put the name of your book in the chat. And he talks about releasing weight and how it's connected to emotional stuff, psychological stuff, and so forth. And once you go through all of that, then the physical weight can shift as well. So he's an incredible author. Fantastic. All right. I see Leslie said she is going to be there. So I'm excited. And Dr. Nia, I know you also having a bunch of vendors there too. What's happening?
We have a lot. Lupus Foundation of America, is that their name? We'll be there. Lupus Save the People will be there.
I'm going to beat you. I'm going to beat you.
And we have the great Dr. Walls. I think she's going to be there. Are you going to be there? What?
I'm going to be there with bunnies and frogs and everything. Big bunnies, little bunnies, major bunnies. We're going to be there.
Because that also goes back to tell them about Froggy T and Bunny and the social, emotional component and how that all ties into what we're doing.
Of course. So The Adventures of Froggy T and Bunny, a hip hop tale, my children's book series. I say children's book because all the adults who read them fall in love with them. I had the pleasure of actually being on Carol's show, thanks to you, a while back. And Carol and I started talking about something. Somehow I got on the Froggy T and Bunny. The rest of the show went on about Froggy T and Bunny and their social, emotional health and development. Because one of the things as people, many times we're taught what I call the Sesame Street emotions, happy, sad, mad, and glad, and it stops there. And the reality is we have so many more feelings and emotions that are locked up inside of us that one, we either haven't been given permission to express, like we talked about the anger, but also we haven't been given the vocabulary to articulate what we're experiencing. And that breeds frustration and internal conflict and turmoil. And so through The Adventures of Froggy T and Bunny, a hip hop tale, I am building the feelings vocabulary by pushing vocabulary. I am also building the skill set to be able to slow down and have the conversations. At the back of every book, there's not only a glossary, but there's also activity questions, which can be for self-reflection, but also for discussion with families and classrooms, counselors, and so forth, so that we can get used to expressing ourselves. Because to Gil's point, right, when we have unexpressed traumas, when we have unexpressed stress and stressors, that leads to increased health problems because our immune system is being torn down because our central nervous system is constantly on high. When that is on high, we're also not making the best decisions. And so being able to start to teach children young, and then also having families, teachers, and so forth, talking about these things helps to bring this and normalize it into the conversation and allow the body to breathe and exhale.
I mean,
Dr. Be the change asked, will you be speaking about how past traumas contribute to sicknesses like lupus?
Absolutely, absolutely.
We absolutely will. We absolutely will. And Be the Change, if you wouldn't mind, because I didn't see it, would you mind putting the title to your book? Would you mind listing it? Because I would definitely like to support.
Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah. I see V-Shane said talking about cortisol and inflammation. My. Yeah. Go ahead, Carol. Your body wanted to talk about that. Go ahead.
When I'm telling you, you all, and I understand actually having lupus and dealing with it. But when you're watching, and I understand I overstand the hardship of that. But watching my mother and not being able to do anything, not being able to, to help in any way, reading that cortisol and inflammation. I watched my mother's entire body swell to the point where she could barely walk, she could barely move, and just watching a loved one deal with the different changes is hard enough. I can't imagine, actually having it and trying to manage and navigate. And then, so my mother she would always wear a little baseball cap or a little hat or something. And it was for the sun. She looked cute. She was cute. But, it was because of the sun. Just like you say, check on your friends, check on the elderly, check on, we have a tendency to mask. We have a tendency to say, oh, well, that's just because, so-and-so. No, find out why. Yes. Find out why. Find out why.
Yeah. Tell me this, as far as Dr. Bailey, as someone who deals with this, what are some strategies? What are some treatments? What are some things that you need to make sure you're incorporating in your life, whether from yourself? And Carol, what did you notice from your mother that was helpful?
I think I'm still learning. I think what worked when I first found out is different than the now. What I do know is what I wasn't taught, and my mom actually apologized to me for this as a Black woman, to stop pushing. You're not supposed to feel that tired. Yes. You're not supposed to like, you can stop pushing through, and there's something wrong, and you can sit with yourself. You can say no. You don't have to do all of this. Yes, I'm talking to you, Miss Dionne, but that's a different story. So I've done that. I've incorporated more wellness approaches, more greens, more vegetables. That's very important. Juicing or eating something at its natural state. So I typically like spinach when it's sauteed, but it's healthier when it's not, in its natural state.
Yes.
And putting my feet to the grass, just things that we have done culturally before we got here, really does the trick for now.
Yeah.
I've always, and I'm speaking up for myself, one of the things that Dr. Douglas has said is you're not supposed to feel whatever, like that extreme. Yes, you're going to be tired because you woke up at 4:30 and you got off at 3:30. Like, yes. But if it's something out of your norm that's continually happening, that's a sign to say, hey, I need to get that checked out. Not a sign to push harder.
Yeah.
And that's what I've learned to do and still I'm trying to do.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And I love how you say that's what I'm learning for right now, because we have to recognize that we're always growing and changing. And what worked before may run its course for that time, right? We put it in our toolbox of something that maybe we come back to. But right now, I need to do something different. One of the things that I said during and after the pandemic, when people would say to me, oh, the coping skills that I used to use before, they don't seem to be working anymore. I said, that's because you got to make a sandwich out of them now. You can't do one or two. You got to do all of them together and just find a way to navigate through them, because we're dealing with so many more stressors and so much more information, and it was a flare-up that took place. And so unless we're being proactive to calm ourselves down, we're staying in a heightened state. Carol, how about you? Any things that you recall helping with your mother?
I'll say one particular memory that I have is so my mother had some other health conditions as well, and she developed others later, but one in particular was heart disease. I remember being in the hospital with my mother. A doctor had prescribed a medication for her that should not be prescribed for a lupus patient. And well, he was about to, actually, because so we did have an incident where her primary care physician prescribed a medication for her, and it slowed her heart rate to 30 BPM. So when I was unaware of that when she was in the hospital and I was talking to the doctor. So being mindful, if you are a caregiver, and even if it is you, even if you have, you know, several conditions with which you are dealing, being mindful of your medications. That was something that stayed with me, because we had so many scares because of, you know, different things. But that particular incident, because watching my mother gasp for air, is a memory that it's something that I will never forget. So saying that to those who are caregivers, being mindful of medications, so that, you know, you can be the best help that you can possibly be.
Thank you for sharing that.
Dr. Walsh, may I ask Ms. Carol a question too?
Yes, of course.
Because we keep emphasizing the patient, but how did you care for yourself? Because you went through it too.
That's right.
You know, I didn't. I did not until years after my mother passed, quite honestly, because my mother passed December 27th of 2018, and it was on a Thursday night, and I remember I let my phone die that night, and because I had no bandwidth, I had nothing, and I turned it back on that Monday because I knew I had things to do. But her service was on January 9th of 2019. And I have no recollection of 2019. February, actually, like February 3rd or something like that. I don't remember the remainder of the year. And my memory picks up at the end of January in 2020.
Wow.
Trauma.
Yeah.
I have no recollection of what I did or how I got through 2019.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Because Dr. Bailey, you're absolutely right. I mean, as the caretaker, you're busy trying to navigate, and you're navigating something that someone doesn't know anything about. It's so much. It is so much. And I know, being the caretaker for both of my parents at one point, and I remember after my father made his transition, and we just celebrated his 8th year on Saturday. And I remember when people said, you know, how do you feel? And I said, well, I feel relief because that's one less person I have to care for. Now, of course, right, I love him and this and everything else, but one, I was relieved and I felt at peace because he wasn't suffering anymore. So those were real feelings too, that a lot of times people don't allow you to express because they want to hear grief and sadness and all of that. It was like, no, I'm tired. Your girl is tired.
You know, I have a happy inside my hurt. That's how I describe
it. Say it again, Carol.
I'm sorry. I express that I have a happy inside my hurt.
Yes.
That's the best way I can explain it.
Yeah. That's a beautiful. I totally see that in my head. Now I'm gonna try to figure out how to draw it out. I totally see that.
I'm
Thank
you know,
you.
so happy that she's no longer suffering. They're no longer suffering.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Dr. Ramantal, you were saying something?
Oh, no, I'm saying caring for the caregiver is a big issue. You know, that you
Mhm.
can't pour from an empty cup. And a lot of times the caregiver goes ignored, you know,
Yes.
because they're doing so much that they don't
Mhm.
have time for themselves and to take
Yeah.
stock into the emotional, physical, and mental that comes along with all of what they're doing for
Yeah.
their loved one.
Yeah. And this is why that village part, sorry, Dr. Bailey, is so important to have that support around you to check on you. God knows Dionne be like, you need to make sure, and I do. I have my loved ones who like fall back. Let me just check on you, make sure you're all right. Because especially when you're a caretaker, you generally are taking care of everybody else. It's like we're wired that way. Dr. Bailey, you were gonna say?
I was just going to say, I venture to say, in some aspect, and I'm not knocking the person who was going through it, but it's almost worse
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
and I was thinking of Miss Dionne when I'm saying this. You take care of, like, you still got to take care of yourself. You got to take care of your loved one. You got to make sure that everything in your loved one's life is taken care of.
Yes.
And that's a whole response. I mean,
Yes.
to the cell phone bill, to what are you eating, to how
Yes.
you're wiping up your space, to how you're cleaning, how you're
Yes.
living. Like, it's just
Yes.
so much.
Yes.
And I really gather to say it's almost worse. So,
Mm-hmm.
and like, I forget who said this, but Miss Carol, take care of yourself. Miss Dionne, take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Dr.
Yeah.
Walls, take care.
Yeah.
It's so, Dr. Natasha, take care. It's so important. And this is the things that we need to learn. And I think when I said earlier, my mom apologized to me. She said, I didn't mean to pass that down to you to keep pushing. I think what was supposed to be taught was, I push so you don't have to push. But he didn't get that.
Right.
I'm supposed to, what does it say? Rosa walked, so this, or Rosa sat, so Martin walked, and blah, blah, we can fly. We're not supposed to do as much as they did,
Right.
So speak up.
Yeah.
Advocate hat on. You don't feel well, something's out of your norm. Talk to the doctor and say, run everything. Okay?
Yeah.
Because if insurance will pay for it, somebody else will. I don't know who it is.
Yes, you got to be an advocate for yourself and others, right?
Yeah.
I can't stress that any more. I just wanted to say a comment too when you were saying about the cortisol levels and stress making lupus more known. I know that's what a lot of the early childhood teachers and community members, they're going through so much stress. We all life be lifing. And your body is off, but this is why we do have to practice that radical wellness, right? We got to do radical self-care because when life be lifing, you're about to go down. And you need to, do something so you're making sure you're keeping yourself up. So I'm glad we're doing this topic. I mean, wish it was more of it. I'm interested from Dr. Natasha, what's being done to make lupus more so known. What can women do, men do, everybody do, children do to support family members that we're going through this? I know you don't want to give everything away, but we would love from the medical aspect to know, because like I mentioned before, just past COVID, now universities are like, oh, self-care, so important for teachers in the community. And let's do all these studies and realize that if you're taking care of yourself, then, you'll be more productive and, the stressors won't be filtering out to our children who we need to feed into. So I'm just curious. I know they're doing something, but tell us, what we can do, besides being an advocate for ourselves.
So I advocate for yourself is my biggest one, like you. But if someone suspects they have lupus or they just don't understand what's going on with their body, the first thing I tell people is just keep a record, document your symptoms, right? Document when they occur. It's really important to see if something exacerbates it or makes it better. We always ask that as a healthcare professional, so that they can look for patterns, but also seek a medical evaluation. You start, yes, with your primary care provider, but you can also directly request a referral to a rheumatologist, and they specialize in autoimmune diseases, not just lupus, but all of the autoimmune diseases. So you can start there and then request blood work, like specific tests like the ANA for lupus, which is anti-nuclear antibody, and that can help identify autoimmune activity, though they're not diagnostic on their own, but they can help identify something. Also, look at your family history. I know Dr. Walls said, talk to our elders. You know, autoimmune diseases can run in families. Some of them may not even know, like you said, but if you find that the symptoms are still there, then there may be something to that, and you can identify what it may be that elder probably just said, oh, I got used to, right? And then I'd say it's really important to not self-diagnose. You know, Google is great. Everybody has a PhD in Google, but let's not go too far. Lupus shares, at least when it comes to autoimmune, lupus shares, again, symptoms with other conditions. Only a medical team can confirm a diagnosis through clinical exams, labs, and sometimes imaging. But you need to be an advocate to push them if they ignore. Okay. Yeah. And if you can't get someone to do it, get somebody who can, someone who's more vocal, take them with you, get them on the phone when the clinician comes into the room, if they can't make it to the appointment, or get an independent patient advocate.
Such as yourself? Such as yourself.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So advocate for yourself, because if the symptoms persist, the answers sometimes are so unclear, but you can seek a second opinion, and early detection can actually help prevent organ damage. Much like what you're saying, we need to donate more organs as Blacks, and also the individual that's going to be at the event that you're having who needs a kidney. So it's really important to advocate for yourself.
Dr. Ramatal, let me ask you this. Because you do study medical help and wellness globally, do you know any other countries that are dealing with lupus besides us? Go ahead.
There's a lot of countries that do, but they don't always do the studies to confirm that that's what it is, in order for them to collect the appropriate data over a long period of time to make definitive diagnoses or conclusions about certain things. So you'll find that there may be certain groups, and I can't think offhand because I don't follow lupus specifically, you know, to say that this country has a higher incidence than another, but I'm sure we can find out. But yeah, a lot of them don't even know. And I'm thinking about it. If you think about all of the innovation we have here, and we don't do that here, can you imagine places that don't have as much as us in terms of the tools to properly diagnose? Yeah. So that's what happens, even with some of the simplest things, because to me, lupus is on the complex side because of the way that the symptoms present. It's just, oh, this could be anything, you know? So it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah. Now, Dr. Ramatal, all jokes aside, patient advocacy is something that you do. It is a service that you do offer. Would you please put your contact information in the chat room, so if people are interested in acquiring that service from you, they can do so? Absolutely. Believe it or not, we are 3 minutes to the hour. So I know, and there's so many wonderful comments in the chat room. I want people to make sure that you are tending to those. I have also just put the link as well to Be the Changes book in the chat room as well, so you all can take a look at that. Dr. Nia Bailey, would you please give us the specifics again about this fantastic event coming up in about 2-3 weeks? I can't believe I'm saying that already.
I know. Me and Ms. Carol have been talking about this forever. Oh my gosh. Saturday, September 27th, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the...
Come on, Dionne.
Partnership for Education, 2601 North 11th Street. Located in the north part of Philadelphia.
And then what's going on, Ms. Carol?
Yes.
Come on out so we can inspire, we can educate, we can lift one another up, we can support one another, and we can all learn together about lupus.
A free.
Yes, thank you.
Free.
Yes.
FREE.
Come on. You want to sing a song about it? Here, go.
And you can go on the website to lupusunknowndisease.eventbrite.com. And we also have an Instagram page, the same thing, Lupus, the Unknown Disease, to find out more.
Mm-hmm. And on that Instagram page, is there a link to the website?
Yes.
Would you go ahead and drop that in the chat? Let me see. I have don't worry, I have the one for Instagram. I'm going to drop that in the chat right now, if all my buttons will work properly. All right, let's see. Of course, now things are not wanting to work because it was working so seamlessly. All right, I don't know why it won't go.
It wouldn't go for me either.
I had Dr. Bailey. You did?
I tried.
Okay. I'm not sure what's going on. All right, here we go. I think it's finally going. So we are good.
Okay.
We need social media handles so people know where to follow you and continue to keep up with all of the wonderful work that you are all doing. Carol Riddick, where can people see you, hear you, follow you?
Everywhere at Carol, Carol Riddick, Riddick.
All right. Dr. Ramantal, where can people find you and follow you?
Everything Medical Tourism RN on all platforms.
All right.
And medicaltourismrn.com.
And Dr. Bailey, how about you?
Father, Dr. DRNIIMANI, Dr. Ni Imani.
Mm-hmm. And Dionne Chambers, how about you?
Learn, Empower, Grow. Any their website, social media handles, or Learn, Empower, Grow group will pop up.
Yes. All right. And all my handles, here comes Dr. Ramantal's information, Light Session TV.
Thank you.
Okay, there it goes. You're welcome. Please.
Jamila said something. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go for it.
It was about dietary. Jamila mentioned that Benelista has been incredibly helpful for me. The dietary changes have been the most challenging, especially when the medication wears off. I had to comment on that. The best thing for those with lupus is just focus on an anti-inflammatory diet. Fruits, vegetables that are rich in antioxidants, fiber, all of that reduces inflammation, which you probably already know. Stay away from processed foods, sugary drinks, because along with inflammation, contribute to weight gain, which worsens lupus symptoms, and reduce your sodium intake, because high sodium intake can worsen your fluid retention, blood pressure. All of those things are problematic for lupus patients. But whole grains, lean proteins, and healthy fats.
Thank you. Way to catch that one. Come on now. It sounds like maybe working with a nutritionist might be helpful.
Yes.
In the process.
Absolutely.
All right. Y'all know we keep one on hand, Edna Warren of the Health Zone. So you need one, just reach out. I am all things Ask Dr. Walls 525. So you can always just catch me there. Even my website is askdrwalls.com. You can send me a message through there as well. We thank you all for joining us this evening. And thank you to my wonderful panel for putting this event together, first of all. All right. So thank you very much. You get more than just a clap.
Where's a tambourine?
Y'all already know, because y'all could have kept the conversation between the two of you, but you didn't. You moved into love in action, known as compassion, and took it out to make sure that the rest of the world, because now everything is global with the internet, right? The rest of the world is aware of this and can become even more informed. So we thank you for moving it beyond the conversation with the two of you and now moving it into the world. Dionne, we thank you for opening the office there at LEG and Hope Partnership, and to do exactly that, right? To be a partner, and everything that we do, it is a collaborative. That's the only way we're going to get things done. If we were supposed to do it by ourselves, we'd be here by ourselves, and we are not. So we at Sisters in Harmony, Sisters for Harmony, old name used to be Sisters in Harmony, new name Sisters for Harmony, are right here with you to put our hands in your hands and make this thing do what it do. And so until we meet again, as always, God bless and continue to live your greatest life. All right, y'all. See you soon. Good night.
Right.